For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. Imagine this. There's two professional fighters on the same card in the same weight class, fighting each other unintentionally in the back, picked up on camera. Okay. Now, imagine this. One goes on to absolute stardom and a BMF championship. His name is Jorge Masvidal. The other goes on to the undisputed world title. And you can't quite get them together. The undisputed world title also came with roughly 8 victories in a row. And the superstardom was a little bit of a different path. And before you could get this fight that happens backstage into the ring, one retires. While in retirement, the other loses the championship. So you now have the fight that got away. You have the great Anderson Silva GSP-esque in terms of audience appeal. That the audience discusses and looks back and says, hey, why didn't we make that fight when we could have? What happened? And all of a sudden, it looks more like that fight can happen. Jorge Masvidal came out, and I got to tell you guys, and it doesn't really matter. George and I got this whatever this is, right? It doesn't change the fact that that dude is dog tough and is willing. And see, that's the things that don't generally come together. I have a major problem with the fake tough guys of MMA, which is, in a broad stroke, every single one of them that's not named Nate Diaz. And I think I need to put Masvidal into that same category. And what I'm just talking about is, you got this guy with these skills, whatever it is, but he doesn't have the willingness. He's not going to risk it. He's banging his chest about I'll fight anybody, but if you look a little closer, that means anybody ranked in front of me. Anybody where I would be the underdog. That could be a hard thing to do, to go into a fight when everybody's telling you you're going to lose, but some guys do thrive in that situation. It's very different when you flip it. When you say, all right, you are the favorite. You are ranked number 4 in the world. You're going to fight number 13. You're going to lose your ranking drastically. You're going to lose your placement on the card. You said you would fight anybody. That's been a one-way street of us building you here, but now you test you against this guy. And I just got to tell you, that is not Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal, who's challenging Leon, which is a very hard fight, but Jorge Masvidal has no room for error. He knows that. George left the UFC, I believe, on 3 losses. It could have been 4. I believe it was 3, and then he lost to Nate, and it's a total of 4, or it's a total of 5. But if you go back and look, there is a little bit more to it. Like, those fights were pretty competitive, right? Even the one with Kamaru Usman, there was nobody on the roster that could have taken that shot and not ended up spun around. 4 fights. Four MMA fights in the boxing went against Masvidal. But again, if you look a little bit closer, the Colby fight, George didn't win a round, but it was a hard fight. He stayed in there. After round 3, the math was against him. He was not going to win that, but he could stay out there for another 10 minutes if he's a tough guy, or he could have found another way. He stayed out there. I'm just sharing for you, like, there's a lot on that from a mentality standpoint, and this isn't me bringing that to you from some type of promotional standpoint. This is Masvidal. He says, and I quote, "Let's find out if I'm the guy I think I am." Now, I just want you to hear that, and I do want you to ponder that for a second, because everybody can relate. I mean, I'm talking about 99.9% of human, mankind. You will go your entire life whoever you think you are. If you think I would handle myself in that situation like this, if somebody approached me, I would handle it like this. If I was confronted, I would handle it like whatever that is that you tell yourself at an early, you can go the rest of time. It's not, you're never going to find out. Like, that is the rarest thing in the world, that you would actually have to find that out. In the streets, in the playground, in the hallway, in the cage. Very, very rare. So I only share that most people don't want to find out. Why would you? Who would actually want to find that out? If you could have a confidence and you felt like that, your life was just fine, you cruise right on through and some other people pick up on it, and this is all where you... That sounds great. I mean, that sounds like the law of the jungle. The animals aren't out there fighting either. One of them puffs and the other accept the puff, and you go right on. And Masvidal said, let's find out if I'm the guy that I think I am. And I will just share with you, that is rare. And that's going to be a hard fight to get. Masvidal versus Leon has got to be the most interesting fight. If you guys had a magic wand, you were going to fight a fight for Masvidal. And you got to find a way to sell it, right? You got a guy, and he's lost a few and even retired, and nobody gets better in retirement, but this dude's wildly popular, and he's still coming to events. Crowd's cheering for him. Then you got Leon, king of the world. Beats 8, 9, 10 guys in a row. Doesn't have a belt anymore. He's not going to be fighting for a belt next. You got to find something to do. Wants people to tune in, wants people to watch. There's a way they really complement each other. But Leon, who I don't know his ranking, considering he just was champion, I would imagine he's number 2. I would imagine he fell from champion to right in there. I imagine it's him and Rakhmonov, Kamaru. So, getting them together, I think, is going to be difficult. But I must tell you, I don't know that there's a better idea. And one thing about Leon, he's not answering George's challenge. But before you give him a hard time, he never does. But like, one thing about Leon, and he got painted with this brush, and I must tell you, I was guilty of it too, is, hey man, this guy doesn't know how to build a fight. This guy doesn't know how to promote. But over time, as we get to know Leon, it turns out he's just a gentleman. It had nothing to do with he didn't want to fight this guy, or he was fearing that guy, or he didn't understand how the system worked. It had nothing to do with it. He was a sportsman. He had a certain code, and he followed it. So it's a very interesting thing. And I must tell you, I've been through it. The very line that George said, let's find out if I'm the guy I think I am. It's an interesting spot. And the mere fact that he is willing to come off of a 4-loss skid and a retirement to walk right back in to something that challenging, I got to tell you, it has my interest. That's the fight. That's the fight I'm going to submit. I'm going to take George's statement. I'm going to co-sign it. And I would love to see in the comments, for either athlete, George Masvidal or Leon, you have a match that you would prefer.